hi there, and welcome to Reflections with Rhonda Jones and co-host Monica Livingston. She is out loud and proud today here in the studio. Very proud of her husband. He is such a marvelous producer, and she supports him in every way, and I want everybody to know that. And then we have our regulars, Ruthie Wyburn and Kimberly Johnson. Ladies, just give a shout out.
Hi.
There you go.
I want to hear a shout out.
I don't shout.
I don't think we would ever get that from them.
Probably not. We can wait the whole show.
We'll sit here in silence till y'all do a shout out.
All right.
Kimberly and I don't shout.
No, they don't. They don't.
Right.
We should take a page out of their playbook.
Probably.
But we do welcome you to the show today, and we're going to start right out with Kimberly Johnson. She has a few issues that she wants to talk about, and if you have any comments or questions, criticisms, observations, or anything, please, you can text them to 850-572-7442, or you can get on the Ustream chat, Facebook, just all kind of ways. Okay, Kimberly? Just use your best judgment.
Okay. I saw an article today about a lady, so I got notes down here. My kids kidnapped my Kindle, so using paper. Marion Shurtleff. She was 75 years old, and she wanted to find a different Bible other than the one she was using. She was interested in comparing a different translation, so she went to a used bookstore and purchased a Living Bible, took it home, and was leafing through it, and a page fell out of it, and it was actually a letter that she had written herself 65 years prior to get a Girl Scout merit badge. And she had written it in a different state over 2,000 miles away 65 years ago, and doesn't have any idea how it got in this Bible and how it got returned to her. How, she felt she attributed it to divinity, that God led her to get it. But she was looking for, the person that she gave the letter to was Bonnie Jean Edwards, and that was somehow from Miss Edwards to this place in where she lives now. She found this letter from when she was 10 years old. 1948 was when it was written.
My goodness. Well, first of all, I can say that Bonnie Jean Edwards didn't give a flip about that essay. That's right off the bat. I can see that. That's sad.
Well, maybe
Or
she loved it and kept it in her Bible.
And then nobody
She
knew it was
didn't
in there.
care
And
about
when
the
she
Bible.
passed on or something, it got,
That's true. That's true. See how on the face value that you can think the worst of people? Ruthie doesn't, but I do sometimes.
It was just misplaced
Possibly.
or dropped out of the car when you got out of the car or whatever.
But, I really got the cold chills when Kimberly first told me the story. And, just like, ooh, chills, they're multiplying.
she's going to break out in song in a minute.
But they, oh my goodness, that is a freaky coincidence or divine appointment. It's up to you. One of them is right. Or, I do believe that there are coincidences. Obviously, most things are. But I believe there are some spectacular things that happen that are meant to be, are, positioned for you to get there to it. And so that's what I'm going to believe. But if you believe differently, that's your cup of tea. Very good, Kimberly. That's a very inspiring story. Really is. So, and it's really cool because Kimberly and Monica are Girl Scout leaders, and I thought that was neat.
It's kind of neat to think that, you would see something that you had worked on many years
65
before.
years.
Yeah, 65 years. I forgot the ages there. Sorry. 65 years prior, and to find it and to come across it and see your own handwriting and know it's something you did and had worked on, and just kind of really neat to
She said it's her OMG story.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, speaking of OMG stories, does anyone have an OMG story? Like, that means, oh my God, Ruthie. Because like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, a story like that, you know, something you never thought you'd see again, and then you come across it, or maybe a person you never thought you'd see again, and you come across it. Or does anybody have one that they know right off the top of their head?
I haven't lived long enough.
Well, I mean, this really isn't an oh my God story, but it was kind of neat. My husband and I had went to dinner and then went to Starbucks, and we were sitting there, and I was actually on my phone. He was reading on his, and we were enjoying our coffee, and every so often we'd chat with each other. And I was on Facebook and flipping through it, and I saw one of my friends that's on there who I actually graduated high school with, and I had seen a picture and a posting something about Roller Girls, because she does the Pensacola Roller Girls.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And I thought, hey, you know, Alicia, and I was looking at the picture and listing something she said, and about 10 minutes later, I looked up, and there she was, had walked into Starbucks. So it was kind of like a wow, you know.
That is.
And it was neat to see her, because I hadn't seen her since probably, she has a better memory than me, because she remembers seeing me in 1995. And
Oh,
I don't
my
remember the year,
goodness.
but I do remember running into her.
Almost 20
She
years
was working
ago.
at Walmart then, and that was just a few years after we graduated. So
That's an oh my God moment.
telling my age. So yeah, it was really neat. It was good to see her. We sat there chatting, and her and my husband, her husband and my husband were sitting there chatting.
Her and your husband?
No, her husband and my husband
Oh.
sat there chatting, and then we sat there chatting, and we had a nice little visit.
Nice.
Kept us out way later than we intended to be.
That's really...
Figured out I'm not as young as I used to be.
Mm.
So
No, Momo, you're not. Since I've known you since you're about 17. And...
don't tell me yours.
I
Just
won't-
kidding. I
I
don't
won't-
care.
I won't tell 'em.
I
I
don't
won't
care.
tell 'em. But that's kind of like a mini cold chill thing for me just now. That's really cool. Ruthie, no story like that? Like,
No, not that I can think of.
Okay.
My brain's slow this morning.
you know, mine is too. I'm sure there are many things, but I cannot think of a
Too
single.
much sugar in our blood.
Could be.
Well, if
Yeah.
that hadn't just happened, I'd be in the same boat. I'd be like, probably, but I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, well, if you have had an OMG moment and something like you came across a document in a bookstore after 65 years that you wrote, I mean, that is an OMG moment. Let us know about it. That's really cool. We'd like to talk about it. Or what Mo said, you see a person on Facebook and you haven't seen them in 20 years, and then you're just right at that moment looking at them. Then they walk in Starbucks. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so, very good. Well, I know Kimberly has another issue for us.
Yeah, we were all the Girl Scout stuff yesterday. I was glad some of this came up. This was a story I read about. Gotta find her name here. Sorry for the paper rattling. 15-year-old Madison Robinson. She created her own style of flip-flops, and she was 8 years old when she first came up with the idea. Told her parents, and her parents didn't brush her off or say, "Oh, that's cute." Her dad was a T-shirt designer and actually helped her develop the product. And they exhibited it at a trade show in 2011 and immediately had 30 stores offer to carry the line. Last year, she sold 60,000 pair of these tennis shoes.
Wow.
These flip-flops. They're called fish flops for kids. She's 15 this year, and she sold $1.2 million retail last year. Now, that's not her profit. That's because she sells wholesale, and of course she has expenses. But in ninth grade, she's earned enough money to pay for her college education and
Wow.
continue on. Her dad has taught her design, shipping, how to stock a warehouse, how to run a trade booth, social media marketing. So
Very
it's
good.
never too early.
No,
If your kids have an idea, go with it.
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we all probably sat around and thought of an idea of something that would be neat or that would be useful or handy, and only to turn around? I know I have. I was sharing with them when we were talking about this, that I probably invented the pasta pot before it came out. One day I was straining something and struggling with trying to hold the hot pot as well as a strainer in place while you're draining your spaghetti. And I thought, man, if somebody, came out with a thing that fit across it and you held it all together, or maybe even the lid. And then soon after, they had the pasta pots. I don't own one, but, you know, I mean, maybe I'm just a little bitter. I don't know.
Oh, that's sad. Ruthie, have you ever thought of an invention and the next thing you know, you saw it on the shelf in the store?
I don't think so.
Really?
Or at least, like I say, my brain's slow today, so I don't know.
I bet you have. I will say this. My mother, when I was probably, say, 8 years old, we had a horrible accident on the way to Virginia. It was like a 20-car pileup on the way to Virginia. And so, but after that, a couple of years later, she said, you know, something that would help would be to have, when you put on the brakes, to have something pop up, excuse me, in the back window, like a signal or a sign, or, you know, so basically she invented in her head the third brake light, where when you step on the brakes, and then remember it used to have that little rectangle box in the back of the window, and it would show you that people are stopping. And this, you know, I was 8 years old, say I was about 10, so that's about 40 years ago. She thought of that. You know, that would be a good thing to do, because I guess she thought it would have prevented this 20-car pileup. So my mom, I want to say, invented the third brake light. Kimberly, what about you?
No,
No?
not yet.
I know. You hear these stories about people, you know, I've watched, I think it's been like Oprah, and I think Ellen's even had people on that have done it, that, you know, they've come up with these inventions, or, you know, tried a certain type of business or something, and they've just been ultra successful and become multimillionaires. And here you have an 8-year-old girl that's done that. You know, I applaud that. And maybe it's not too late either if it's not too early. So.
It's easier now than it was, you know, to market something because of the social media. So, yeah, don't discard those ideas.
Yeah, I probably should have contacted my dad and had him drill holes in the top of the pot I was using, and then
Contact the patent office.
A little prototype.
a little late. I have to go buy me one.
Well, don't be bitter.
I'm really not. I'm just
It's
teasing.
not a good look. All right, Kimberly, you have, I think, one more subject.
Yes, I was seeing that they had found a woolly mammoth, nearly perfectly preserved, as best they could tell. And of course, their scientists are all excited. They're kind of trying to harvest the blood and the DNA. And the thought is that they can get the genome from the woolly mammoth DNA and take an elephant egg and replace the DNA and clone a woolly mammoth. If that doesn't work, they don't have a complete DNA strand. They said they could possibly piece one together using an elephant DNA as a blueprint. And there was some debate whether it's really a woolly mammoth or if it's a modified elephant. Rather than question that, I was going to ask the panel, should we do it? Should we clone a mammoth just because we can? Does that mean that we should? We might learn something if we had some live mammoths walking around. Any thoughts?
I saw a couple at Walmart this morning. I had to go early. No, I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I think because I don't feel very good.
Oh, goodness.
You know how, like men try to, like, they think they look real good, and they weren't. And then their back's, like, hairy. I saw a couple. Anyway.
Well, perhaps they've already cloned them and we just didn't know.
You got the information late.
That must be what it is.
No, those were just the Walmart people, you know, that you hear about and see on Facebook.
That's sad, because I know one day I'm going to discover myself on one of those pages and I'm going to feel really bad.
I don't know. I mean, some of those are outrageous.
But, and I'm not dissing men that have hairy backs. That's all well and fine. But when you go to Walmart and there's food around, I don't think it's a good idea. All that stuff can get into the parsnips and the beets. That stuff can fall off. I'm apologizing ahead of time for all the comments. Ruthie, do you think the woolly mammoth, as history knows it, should be cloned?
Depending on the reason, if they're going to use it to help them to discover a cure for some disease we have nowadays, I can see it. If he's just going to be there just so we can look at him, I think it's a waste of time, money, and energy.
I'm all agree with that.
Wow, I couldn't. Who could have put it any better?
That's my opinion. You can have a different one.
No,
Well, see, I like the fact that she says this is my opinion, but you can have a different one.
That's right. It's
and
my
that's,
opinion.
you know,
That's right.
That's good.
That's true. You know, that's a good point too. You just can't take somebody's opinion away from them. You know, it's their opinion. Why, you know, dog them about it
Yeah,
or whatever?
right.
But we do. We do.
We have so much research going on for some of these diseases that are really devastating to people, and some for children. There's some childhood diseases that is devastating to the children and the family, and use the money for finding something that'll take care of the misery rather than just creating something so that we can look at it and say, oh yeah, we used to have these way back in the dark ages. That's not important. You know, healing people is important. So,
Yeah.
like
Kimberly?
I say, that's my
That
opinion.
is your opinion.
I absolutely agree. I think it'd be cool. I think it's interesting to think about, but as far as the time, the resources, the money, I think it could be better spent elsewhere.
Well, you know, let's think about it. He was woolly for a reason, okay? And we're having allegedly global warming. I don't know. I'm just saying allegedly because, you know, whatever, Al Gore. But some people are proving that we're really not. But I don't know. You hear both sides. And, but, you know, it's woolly for a reason. He would have to live in where? Like Antarctica or something? I don't know a lot about the woolly mammoth. But, okay. So, I think it would be cruel to the woolly mammoth. That's what I'm trying to say.
You
It'd be-
couldn't release it back into the wild or try to
No.
establish it in some sort of territory without displacing creatures that are already there. So you'd be breeding it, I would assume, for display only. And what would be the point?
That's the thing, you know, just to, you know, I think we have too many animals in cages right now. And I think it's good to have, let children see things that they may not be able to see, but we just have too much of that. They need to be in their environment where they belong. And it's sad to me. It's sad. We have a viewer comment. This person wants to know, has no one on this show seen Jurassic Park?
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of scary.
Oh. And what does that have to do with the woolly mammoth?
Well, I think
And our
he's thinking, you
conversation.
know, all these animals that,
That
they
didn't
brought back,
end
that
well.
there was these dinosaurs that people got eaten, and
Yeah, that didn't end well.
So-
Yeah.
I guess you can tell I haven't seen Jurassic Park.
Oh,
I
okay.
think we might have to watch it this afternoon. Revisit this
Good
topic tomorrow-
comment,
next
then.
Sunday.
Yeah, good comment. That's the thing. The woolly mammoth, you know, there's a reason he's not alive now. So it's the way I look at it, you know, some things do go into extinction because we abuse them or the environment, and some things I think are meant to go into extinction. I don't know. I'm thinking that. I don't know. But I will say this on that subject, speaking of extinction, everybody in Florida, we love the manatee. And I remember one time, I'm not telling you the whole story, but I was sitting on a condo balcony and looking out at the pier, and I saw a manatee in the water, you know, and it was awesome. And then I saw on the news, there was a video, and I couldn't watch it because I would just be overcome with all kind of emotions. But grown men were cannonballing onto the manatee.
Oh, my gosh.
Can you believe that? Grown men. I mean, teenagers, sad enough, you say, well, that's teenagers, they don't know any better. But grown men doing cannonballs on a manatee. And they were arrested. And I
They should
am
have been.
thankful. Yes, they should have been.
I was going to say, how old were you? Because I can't imagine you sitting up there on that balcony as an adult and seeing that and not, like, calling or getting down there and saying something and
Oh, no, I saw this recently on the news.
on the news.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah. No, I would have. gone down there and tried to stop them best I could, or caught somebody. That'd have been horrible. But I just saw the manatee, rolling around, they just playing and stuff, and it was awesome. You don't ever hardly get a chance to see a manatee just doing his thing. But grown men, Ruthie, are you glad they were arrested?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
They were probably grown in body, but not in mind.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well put. Well put.
Kimberly, should people be arrested for things like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, that's ridiculous.
It is
to do.
It's ridiculous. If you do it to a cute manatee, I know you'd probably slug anybody in the face. That's horrible.
I think we have a responsibility as human beings to preserve, not to destroy, and that's horrible that they would do that.
It really is, especially when we try so hard to protect them because of so much waterway traffic and nets and whatnot.
Yeah, I think we have a responsibility, like she said, to act humanely to one another, despite our differences, and then expect to animals. They can't stick up for themselves, and some of them have claws and fangs, and but that's neither here nor there. They just still need to be treated humanely, I think.
And we have another viewer comment. They just want to ask us some questions today.
I think so.
Okay, then we'll have some answers for you.
Maybe.
This person says, you said that some things go extinct for a reason. If a manatee is a creature that doesn't move when people are jumping on it, how can we expect it to survive? Well, obviously it has survived for, a long time, I would say, and it's slow. And I never said it didn't move. I said people cannonballed on it, and it could have moved after the first cannonball, right? Could have.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't watch the article, so I don't know.
I didn't either. And maybe it didn't move. Maybe it was slow, or maybe it was injured, or whatever. We don't know.
After the first one, it was done.
Yeah,
couldn't move.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Good point. Maybe the first grown man that jumped on it, maybe it stunned it, and it.
It would be like you falling down and knocking the wind out of you. This is someone falling on top of you and knocking the wind out of you. That's
right.
And it takes you a couple of minutes to get it back, and by that time somebody else has done it. So
exactly. So have you ever thought about that? Okay, it could have happened that way. And then another viewer comment: "Move, sea cow! Someone's jumping on you." That's a little rude. I'll be honest. A little rude.
Yep.
Little. Just say it.
Yeah.
Little sad.
Real sad.
That's very sad.
We're
Very
gonna
sad.
figure out who this viewer is.
I'm very disappointed in you, viewer comment. But we do appreciate it. And you can certainly keep writing, and we'll keep commenting. But
Keep telling me how rude you are. Sorry, just kidding.
I was sort of joking about being rude. It was sad. But maybe it's a woman thing that we just have more tender hearts toward those that can't help themselves. Speaking of women and our differences or likes, similarities between men, on Fox News they had a brouhaha. I don't know if anyone heard this about women as breadwinners. And it was Megyn Kelly. I don't know if y'all know the one that she is, but she has 2 children. And then even Greta Van Susteren. When Greta gets on it, you've been had. When Greta writes you a letter, you've been had. She wrote a op-ed or a comment on her blog or something. But there were 3 guys on a panel. Lou Dobbs is one, Eric Erickson, maybe Juan Williams, and a pollster. But they were saying the whole sad state of affairs about, men are more dominant and women are more submissive. And so the woman, I'm paraphrasing, the woman her job basically is to stay at the house and nurture the children, where the man goes and makes the money and brings it home, and that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it needs to be. Well, that's a Western view too, because in some cultures, the woman does everything, and the man might, do something with the children. So I mean, you're looking at something like I normally do out of my own little periscope, but not just across the globe. Women are, very involved in making money, making things, selling things, bringing home the bacon, so to say. So what's the difference between if a man stays home or a woman stays home? And then they even got into, single parent homes and homosexual couples that have children, they don't fare as well. They just went back and forth, and the guys kind of got a little, in my opinion, pushy, and then ladies pushed back, and it was a big ordeal. And I want y'all to look at it.
I didn't read the article. I remember seeing the heading on the Yahoo thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't read it. Now I kind of wish I had. But, I think that, the typical role from years ago was the woman staying home and being the homemaker. And I do that. I'm never home. I don't know why they call it stay-at-home mom, because I'm never home. But I think it has to be what you want to do, because I told my husband that I'd like to be a stay-at-home mom and, be there, for the kids the first 3 years, and maybe after they went to school, go back to work. And he supported that. Had I wanted to go become president of the United States, I'm sure he'd support that. Or maybe he'd support that. We'd see if I decided to do it. But you know what I'm saying? I think that it has to be what's best for your family and a two-way decision, between you and your spouse. And I don't think it needs to be about, well, if I go make more money, my husband should feel less because I make more money, or, I should feel bad if he makes more money. And, there are plenty of people that stay home. And or men that stay home. Look at Greg Bray. I mean, right now he's choosing to stay home and take care of his child. He has an education. He's, he could go out there probably and get a good job as being a scientist, but, he is making a choice and allowing his wife to do something. And so I applaud that. Whether it's a man or a woman, you follow what you want to do and what works best for your situation, your family.
Your family unit, whatever it may be.
And some people don't choose to have kids,
Right.
Just the spouse, and the wife may just still decide to stay home. And if they can do that, and that's what they want to do, and it's their business.
Exactly. Ruthie, I know you have a lot to say about this.
My husband said he became disabled and had to stay at home, and I was working, and he told me one night when I came home, he said, I think there should be a law that after a man and woman's been married for a few years and they've got some children, the woman should go out and work in the workforce for at least a year, and he should stay home and take care of the house and the children. He said then they would understand each other's roles better, and they would be able to get along. Well, that's been several years ago, but I have a nephew that he doesn't have the people skills that his wife does, and she has a job that would make more than what he would get. So he stays home and takes care, and when she has the baby, when her maternity leave is over and she goes to work, he takes care of that baby just as good as a mother would. And this has been going on for 3 or 4 years, and they're just as happy as they can be. They like what they're doing. So it doesn't have anything to do with man or woman. It has to do with what is best for that family, for that group of people. And
Right.
you can't divide them into male and female roles. You just can't do that.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Kimberly.
No, I agree completely. And there was, there's been times in my marriage where I was able to have the income so Rick could pursue things that he wanted to pursue. And we had children. I wanted to homeschool, and he supported that decision. And I don't look at it, this is my role, this is his role. I view us as a team, and we work together. He has a strong point, and I have a strong point. And if I could make more money than him, I know he would be great taking care of the kids and educating the kids. I don't doubt that at all. At this time, this is the way it's working for us.
Yeah.
And I'm open to, if something changes, that's great.
And I think that, I mentioned it, I think, on here before. One day my husband was helping me clean up the house, and he was sweeping, and my son goes, "That's woman's work." And I know he's not learning that from us, but he is in a way because he always saw me doing it. And so without me saying this is what mommies do or women do, that's what he was assuming. And my husband corrected him really quickly that, both mommy and daddy can sweep, just because mommy does it most of the time because daddy does this. And my husband has really strived to make sure that the kids know also that just because I'm not out in the workforce, he wouldn't be able to do what he's doing without me doing what I'm doing at home. That the money is ours because we've earned it. He may be the one with the actual job that pays, but it's a team effort because somebody would have to take care of the kids. Somebody would have to take them to school. Somebody would have to pick them up. Somebody would have to do their homework with them. And if it isn't me, it's got to be him, or we'd have to hire somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's a team effort. And I think that people need to teach their children that. So maybe I'm telling you how to teach your kids, but you know what I'm saying? It's just not you, Kimberly, people in general. I know I'm pointing at you, but anyways.
Yeah, Kimberly.
We need to not get away from whose role is,
Yeah,
I like
these
when
traditional
Ruthie said these
roles.
traditional roles or putting people into roles. I think it's just what works for your family and it's not the same across the board. So
Exactly.
Yeah, all three of my children cooked when they were younger, and my son loved it, and he could make some really good meals. He wanted to take leftover night, and he could make some really good stuff out of the leftovers, stuff I wouldn't even think about. And they all learned to do their own laundry and this kind of stuff, so that when they went out in the world, they were able to take care of themselves. And he loved to cook, and that's why he made his living. But he didn't mind staying at home and watching their little one while his wife worked a shift as a waitress. And so it depends. You can train a child to be loving and giving as an adult, or you can train a child to say, the woman has to wait on me. And it all has to do with the way you treat them in the home. When they realize that they have to wait on themselves, they're going to make good husbands and good wives.
Right.
That's just.
Yeah, I think for the most part, absolutely, that's true. We put too many people in boxes. If you're not like me, if you're not like my family, you're not like the way I believe, then you're wrong, and that's just not the way life goes.
No,
And we do that with, well, everybody knows we do it with everything, and it's terrible. Your husband reminded me of the song that the Girl Scouts sang yesterday about the women in different positions, vocations. And can you sing part of that?
I'm not going to sing it, but I
for
can.
Pete's sake.
No, that's okay. I'll tell you about it. It's to the tune of She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and it's called Can a Woman, and it basically says, can a woman fly an airplane? Yes, she can. Yes, she can. Can a woman, be a doctor? Yes, she can. Yes, she can. And it just lists a ton of stuff. A drummer, play ball in the summer, just whatever they want to do. Can be lead a nation or run a corporation. And talks about fixing a flat tire, an engine. It's basically saying that, you can do whatever you want to do. There's not these set roles.
Right.
And that, it starts now that they can start with their scouting adventures and even if you're not in scouts, you can let your children see different roles and not necessarily roles, but different vocations and different things, and encourage their interest in one way or another and let them try different things. And so that's what I applaud scouts about, like Kimberly was mentioning with that girl that's invented the item, the flip-flops, and her dad has taught her about owning a business and different things, and we do that a lot with scouts. So.
Well, it was a great song. Dad and I were there to support our granddaughter getting her patches and badges and so forth, and ad nauseum, and no, it's just a lot of patches, I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah. Well, we do it once a year.
Yeah.
So.
So, but it was interesting, and the song was really cool, and I was like, yes, she can, yes, she can. But then we had some hecklers in the audience, and I'm not going to call any names, but some of them said, Can a woman wash a dish? No, she can't. Can a woman sweep the floor? No, she can't. Can a woman iron my shirt? No, she won't. I mean, we had hecklers in the audience. I'm not saying.
At a Girl Scout function. That's
At a
sad.
Girl Scout function.
The
right
only
here at
one
the
I
studio.
heard from the heckling was, "Can a woman lead a song?" Because I kept messing up.
Yeah, that was for me. But the funny thing is this, and then Dad said he started in about, can a woman, be a pastor in a Baptist church? No, she can't. And then your husband just finished writing some lyrics.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's very interesting.
You gonna sing them for us?
No, but he says this, and he says you should have Monica sing it, but I already tried that. It didn't
Well,
work.
I think maybe we should sing it. What do y'all think?
Nope, not gonna happen. Can a woman be a priest? No, she can't. Can she pray out loud at least? No, she can't. Can she even ask a question? Can she use her own cognition? Can she challenge a tradition? No, she can't. No, she can't.
I might be willing to sing that, but I need to practice it first so I know the words.
So, she can be like Ruthie's granddaughter. She's a airplane engineer, mechanic person.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is just awesome. But she wouldn't be able to stand behind the pulpit in a Baptist church, Southern Baptist church.
Oh, no.
And so,
She wouldn't go anyway.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
That's why she's so smart.
Yeah, she's got a mind of her own, and it's a good one.
It sounds like it. Speaking of Baptist churches, I know we touched on this a little bit, but the Southern Baptists and the Assemblies of God have both pulled their support from the Boy Scouts about meeting in their facilities. And I just wanted to, update you on this other denomination that's doing that. And it's horrible. Millions of Boy Scouts are being penalized for people that are being very exclusionary. And it's terrible. Ivan Rogers made a comment on Facebook, and I'm like, you go, Ivan. And he's 80-something years old, but he said, it's a shame that they're doing this. And when Ivan shames you, you've been shamed because he
Yeah.
doesn't shame anybody.
Who voted to make this law, to change this law? Was it the Boy Scouts themselves, or was it the leaders, or was it the council, or was it people who was supporting? Who made the decision?
I don't know specifically. It must be the head hires up.
There's like a council type or national council.
So the children, the Boy Scouts themselves, didn't have a say in this, and yet they're the ones that's being hurt by this decision. The adults are hitting the kids over the head because they didn't like something.
Right, yeah.
They use their prejudice, and now
That's
the
true.
boys are being hit over the head. I don't think that's right.
That's exactly right. The Boy Scout Council got together and said, you know what? We are going to allow gay youth into the Boy Scouts. We're not going to exclude them anymore because they have been. And so we want to be inclusive and say, yes, they still have said no to gay adults. But, that's another issue there.
But it does affect the
a double
kids as they
standard.
become adults.
Double standard.
It does. It
because
does.
they eventually bridge out of being, youth members to adult members, and they can't do that in the Boy
And,
Scouts.
Right.
I'd
And it
seen-
also excludes the people that have already done that.
Right, I'd seen an article about a man had written that his son came home wanting to join the Boy Scouts, and he had to say, well, I'd love for you to, but they won't let me be a leader. And so it's not just the boys who have already determined a sexual orientation. If their father happens to be gay, they can join, but their dad's not welcomed. So I'm glad the Boy Scouts are taking a step in the right direction, but they got a
Got
little
many
ways
steps
to
to
go. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the churches, these two big denominations, have decided, well, we don't want them in our building, because of this decision that they made to include people. We don't want them to use our facilities anymore. We're not going to support them in their efforts because they want to include youth, that are gay. And I'm like Ivan Rogers, shame on you. That's
right.
Sad.
Absolutely.
Very sad for these.
Adult prejudiced.
Yes, yes, exactly right. Adults making it hard on children who, whether you don't know what you are, you're questioning, you really are. There's so many different categories, and I hate to categorize people, but you're just growing up. You don't even really some people really do know what they are and what they want, but some don't. And just
Right.
whatever, if they know, great. If they don't, come on. We take everybody. It's sad. Go ahead, Mo. We have about 2 minutes.
Well, I was just going to say that reminded me of the article that I was telling you about that I stumbled upon. It's an older article, but it's about Anne Rice, and the article was stating that she was raised Catholic, and she left the Catholic Church and became an atheist, and then later became a Christian, and now this is back. The article was from 2010, but I like what she had to say here. She says she still has faith in Christ, but she's left the church, and that was in 2010. And she said she's leaving Christianity, and her reason is, in the name of Christ, I refuse to be anti-gay. I refuse to be anti-feminist. I refuse to be anti-artificial birth control. I refuse to be anti-democrat. I refuse to be anti-secular humanism. I refuse to be anti-science. I refuse to be anti-life. So she's saying, in the name of Christ, I refuse to be these things, and
Right.
I applaud that.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah, we'd love to have her at the place, and we're going to work on that and try to get her to share her story.
We'd love to have her on Reflections. Let's just be honest. We want her on our show, right?
That's right. We should have big name people. I mean, you know what? We're making a difference in the world of the manatee. I can feel it. But I want to thank the viewer for making the manatee comments, and I hope you took our jesting and jest. And we love everybody, and we will see you next week.